Sabrina.
Hello. Thank you.
Sabrina's going to be at the Festival of Books and Creativity at the end of June, and we will be at the 12-Mile Crossing at Fountain Walk in Novi, Michigan. Sabrina goes by the pen name of Emerald Pillow. So, how did you come up with that pen name?
It's something that I started back in the 90s. I was a huge Aerosmith fan, and one of their song lyrics had Emerald Pillow in it. And I thought it sounded so cool. I started using that for my pen names because I started writing fan fictions back in the 90s.
Okay. Awesome. So you've got a couple of books. Tell us about those.
Well, my first book is called Tales of Hide and Seek. I actually have it with me.
Ooh,
And it is a collection of four short stories,
okay.
and they all have a theme of hide and seek to them.
Mm-hmm.
They're all paranormal based, so they're ghost stories and supernatural things that are going on. And I wrote those about 4 years ago. They've been on Amazon for the past 3 years. Um, the first story follows Zach and Cindy, who are siblings, and their mother leaves them at home while she runs down to take some medicine to a sick person. And while the mother is gone, they get their home invaded. So it's about how
Ooh.
Zach and Cindy deal with that and trying to escape and not be caught by the people who have intruded. The second story is follows Emma, who's a young girl who found a doll at a Salvation Army, and she convinces her mother to take it home. But then Emma starts acting differently and not like her normal self, and you find out why as you go. The third story is a camping story where a camper gets lost and he's trying to find his way back to his campgrounds and he comes across a mysterious woman. He follows the woman to her campsite to find some atrocities have happened. And then the final story follows Brittany, who had recently moved with her father to a farmhouse. And there's a cemetery behind the house, and she realizes one night that there's something going on. So she leaves her farmhouse to go investigate, and a very interesting thing happens with her.
Ooh. Interesting. So what is book two then?
The second book I will have at the festival. I don't have it currently. It's in the process of being finalized. It's
Ooh.
called The Problem with Heather, and it follows Maddie, who is a high school student. And she's kind of your basic social outcast, a little bit on the plump side, keeps to herself and reads. And when she first got to the school, she made friends with this girl named Heather. Since then, they've actually had a falling out, and Heather is now her bully. And one day, Maddie comes across this doll that was mysteriously left for her. And she eventually finds out that when things happen to this doll, things happen to Heather. So she
Ooh.
tries to navigate what to do with this, and she's a good person. So she tries to prevent anything happening. Unfortunately, the doll has its own agenda. So I won't say any more than that. You'll have to read it to find out how that goes.
They'll have to come and attend the festival so that they can get their own copy.
Yes.
Awesome. So you mentioned that you used to write fan fiction. Is that how you got your start with writing?
It actually has. I've always loved to read. So then, after reading so much, I started writing my own stories. But I
Hmm,
was at such a young age, I didn't comprehend like creating my own characters. So I would take
okay.
characters that already existed in shows that I watched and put my
Mhm.
own stories to them.
Oh. So do you think any of that fan fiction might get recreated into stories of your own?
Maybe not, because all of it is very adolescent and
Oh, okay.
not along the writing style that I do these days.
Okay. So you've got some paranormal going on. Sounds like a little bit of horror in there. What else do you have coming down the line for writing?
I actually already started on a new series, and this one's going to be a little bit more intricate. It's going to follow a character who has some special abilities, and they
Mm.
end up being taken to this facility that is a little abnormal. It's called Aeon's Academy, but the students there and the faculty there are not necessarily human.
Oh, interesting. So you're look is this is going to be young adults?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. So are your two current books, are those also young adult or are they adult?
They would be young adult, but anybody can read them. I've had adults read them and find pleasure in them, especially since they end with a little twist that they didn't see coming.
Ooh, got some twists in there. Awesome. So you've got this one series that you've got any more stories down the pike, or what, have you thought of going to a different genre?
I tend to like to stick with what I know and what I actually like. I know that romance is a huge genre, but I'm not much into the mushiness, we'll just say.
Totally understand.
I would be interested in doing some fantasy if I have a good idea.
Okay.
Something that's a little bit different than what's out there because I know there's a lot of fantasy stories.
Mhm.
And I, if I can come up with something that's very unique and different, I would be interested in going that way.
Awesome. So what else will you have at your table for at the book festival?
Well, I do create and design blank line journals. And then the other thing that I do make are activity books, which I have one of those available. And
Ah.
the activity books are based off of, I have two different lines. One is anime, and then the
Mhm.
other is horror. So it's trivia questions, matching, crossword, search word, just a variety of different things to test your knowledge in those specific areas.
Very cool. So you've got a nice wide variety of things that people will be able to grab in there. What do you like to do outside of reading and writing?
I enjoy watching anime and reading
Mhm.
manga.
Ah,
I also like to play video games, and then I also have a side business where I work with plastic canvas and I create things
ooh.
like bookmarks and wall decor, things of that nature.
Will you be bringing some of your bookmarks with you then?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So you mentioned manga. Have you ever thought of trying to create your own manga book?
Believe me, I wish I could, but I cannot draw a straight line with a ruler. So unfortunately, I cannot draw. Otherwise, I would be making manga opposed to actual novels or stories. I'm looking for anyone who wants to, do a collaboration.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that one you definitely need to have some drawing skills.
Yes,
Awesome. Well, you also have a couple of two dogs?
I have three dogs now.
Three dogs. Okay.
Yeah.
And what are their breeds and names?
They are all beagles. I
Mhm.
have a boy named Bayou and two girls named Ocean and Tsunami.
I'm noticing a water theme here.
Yeah. We did have a pit bull. His name was River. He's the one who started it, but unfortunately, we had to put him down last week.
Oh,
So we had named him after River Phoenix and just kept the water theme afterwards.
interesting. Well, this is, ooh,
Sorry.
and those would be the Beagles giving their opinion. They heard their names. Well,
Exactly.
this has been a great interview, getting to know you, and I can't wait to meet you in person at the end of June.
I'm looking very forward to it, and I can't wait.
See you in June.
Thank you. See you there. Bye.